Day 69, Chapter 17, page 242. Judgments come when God removes his protection. I was shown that the judgments of God would not come directly out from the Lord upon them, but in this way. They place themselves beyond his protection. He warns, corrects, reproves, and points out the path of safety. Then, if those who have been the object of his special care will follow their own course, independent of the Spirit of God, after repeated warnings, if they choose their own way, then he does not commission his angels to prevent Satan's decided attacks upon them. It is Satan's power that is at work at sea and on land, bringing calamity and distress, and sweeping off multitudes to make sure of his prey. God will use his enemies as instruments to punish those who have followed their own pernicious ways, whereby the truth of God has been misrepresented, misjudged, and dishonored. Already the Spirit of God, insulted, refused, abused, is being withdrawn from the earth. Just as fast as God's Spirit is taken away, Satan's cruel work will be done upon the land and the sea. The wicked have passed the boundary of their probation. The Spirit of God, persistently resisted, has been at last withdrawn. Unsheltered by divine grace, they have no protection from the wicked one. At times, holy angels exercise destructive power. The sinner must himself bear full responsibility for the punishment that is meted out to him. Ellen White states, God destroys no one. The sinner destroys himself by his own impenitence. God's judgments were awakened against Jericho. It was a stronghold, but the captain of the Lord's host himself came from heaven to lead the armies of heaven in an attack upon the city. Angels of God laid hold of the massive walls and brought them to the ground. Under God, the angels are all powerful. On one occasion, in obedience to the command of God, they slew of the Assyrian army in one night 185,000 men. The same angel who had come from the royal court to rescue Peter had been the messenger of wrath and judgment to Herod. The angel smote Peter to arouse him from slumber. It was with a different stroke that he smote the wicked lying king, laying low his pride and bringing upon him the punishment of the Almighty. Herod died in great agony of mind and body under the retributive judgment of God. A single angel destroyed all the firstborn of the Egyptians and filled the land with mourning. When David offended against God by numbering the people, one angel caused that terrible destruction by which his sin was punished. The same destructive power exercised by holy angels when God commands. There are forces now ready and only waiting the divine permission to spread desolation everywhere. The first two plagues. When Christ ceases his intercession in the sanctuary, the unmingled wrath threatened against those who worship the beast and his image and receive his mark, Revelation 14 verse 9 and 10, will be poured out. The plagues upon Egypt when God was about to deliver Israel were similar in character to those more terrible and extensive judgments which are to fall upon the world just before the final deliverance of God's people. Says the Revelator, in describing those terrific scourges, there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. The sea became as blood of a dead man, and every living soul in the sea died. The plagues were falling upon the inhabitants of the earth. Some were denouncing God and cursing him. Others rushed to the people of God and begged to be taught how they might escape his judgments. But the saints had nothing for them. The last tear for sinners had been shed, the last agonizing prayer offered, and the last burden borne, the last warning given. The third plague. I saw that the 4 angels would hold the 4 winds until Jesus' work was done in the sanctuary, and then will come the 7 last plagues. These plagues enraged the wicked against the righteous, and they thought that we had brought the judgments of God upon them, and that if they could rid the earth of us, the plagues would then be stayed. And the rivers and fountains of waters became blood. Terrible as these inflictions are, God's justice stands fully vindicated. The angel of God declares, Thou art righteous, O Lord, because thou hast judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. Revelation 16, verses 2 to 6. By condemning the people of God to death, they have as truly incurred the guilt of their blood as if it had been shed by their hands.